Hello, this is Dehumanize with Black Education TV. I have a little pep talk for you, family, in which some of you may not consider this a pep talk, but I think reality checks are something that we all have to listen to and pay attention to from time to time, just so that we know what time it is, and that there is the handwriting on the wall that we cannot afford to ignore anymore. I know for the most part, so-called black people are not really paying attention to what is happening in the world today. Now, many of you say, well, I'm paying attention. You're paying attention. When I say for the most part, most of our people, I'm talking about our families, in which we know when we go to our family gatherings and when you see your coworkers and you see our people at the shopping mall or wherever we may see our people, most of them are not thinking about or focused on what is about to happen with the economy. As a matter of fact, if you even try to bring up the subject of what we must be doing in preparation, usually you get a quick changing of the conversation because they don't want to hear about it, don't want to talk about it. I think too much of our focus is on things that don't matter. Social media has clouded our minds to the point where we're antisocial with one another. Yep, antisocial with one another. And that attitude, I believe, is brought on because most of us are connected through social media. Most of the people that contact our ministry is because of social media. Most of the people who know you that are listening to me is because of social media. When you look at most of our friend list, we have thousands of friends. And none of these people do we know personally, on a personal level. And so because the world is so social media driven, we tend to have more confidence in our friendships on social media than we try to develop interactions with people in person. And as a result, we've taken away each other's humanity. I love family gatherings. I love getting together with my people. That to me is a wonderful feeling, but the problem we're having now is because so many people are into social media and less into the person. What we tend to do is dehumanize each other because you're just a name or a face on a computer screen or on a mobile device. And that's how you know the person, and so therefore you don't consider that person's daily life. But this cloud of social media has created other problems and issues as well. Even though information is at the touch of a button or the click of a mouse, social media is so swamped with celebrity news, foolish news, garbage news. It's so packed with things that don't matter, to the point where the news you need to be focused on is going right over your head. And so when you hear someone say, "Come on inside, it's about to rain," it goes into one ear and out of the other. When you hear someone say that there's a storm near, we ignore that because we are having too much fun. If some of us only knew, if you only knew what lies ahead, what you do today would change drastically. See, the problem is because we don't know the future, we tend to push certain events down the road. We hear that this is going to take place and that's going to take place, but in our minds, we create a safe zone, which is a false safe zone, because we can push things a year down the line, 2 years, 5 years, or not even in our lifetime. So certain things we can't even imagine happening in our own lifetime. But look, family, even as I'm standing here, the quiet, the calm, the serenity can be interrupted so fast that it would blow your mind. We get too caught up in the moment, and we think that these moments like this will always be here. Don't underestimate the storm that's brewing. Too many people are underestimating the storm that's brewing, and they think that they have time. They think that they have time to play around. There is no time to play around, family. Tomorrow is not promised. Everything is happening as it should, but the only problem with that is that it's already predetermined that some people will not make it because their minds were already made up to sit still and do nothing because they underestimated the storm. You heard that it was coming, and you did not prepare. But in a flash, it came up on you and swept you away. Listen, family, I know that it's easier said than done to mobilize yourself for what is going to take place. But this is why the cry has been made so many times for people to get themselves together. The scripture says, as it was in the days of Noah, it's going to be like that in the end too. But see, here's the difference. In the days of Noah, he was the only one crying aloud, telling the people that it's about to rain, that you need to prepare yourself. The people laughed, they mocked, they scorned. And Noah continued on. But then the rain came and swept them all away. In today's time, the difference is you have a lot of voices crying out in the wilderness, telling people that it's about to rain. Gather yourselves. Prepare yourselves. Make haste. But then people mock and they scorn and they laugh. And they carry on. They eat, they drink, they be merry. And they lose focus on the things that truly matter. I know that there are things that are happening in this world that draw our attention. And that some things are a distraction. But that doesn't mean that we are to be distracted to the point where we falter in our duties. Your mind should be able to focus on more than one thing. You can still focus on the task at hand, and prepare, while still realizing that you have to take care of your family's bills. No one is saying to run off in a corner and just hide and wait for whatever's to come. We're saying in the course of your day, remember that preparation should be underway as well. I wonder what those are. Kind of reminds me of, wonder if that's a raspberry bush. Kind of hard to tell. I'm no expert in these things. I do know that we have a raspberry bush here somewhere, and the blackberries are coming in too. Anyway, family, you all often hear us talking about getting together with others that have the same vision and focus. You better make sure that that's what they have. Don't make the mistake of trying to unify to your own demise. You got to make sure you're on the same page with the same goal, the same vision. And not just the same goal and vision, because many people desire to do the same things. But you also have to make sure that you are on one accord spiritually. Because if you are not on one accord spiritually, you will clash. And you will still have problems. If you're paying attention to how number 45 is doing things, this current administration is no joke. No laughing matter at all. While he's playing footsies with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, talking about what a great friend he's found, there's something else brewing. And I'm not even sure he's aware of it. Seems like he's unaware of many things. He's just a puppet. There are others pulling the strings, in which many of you already know this. But regardless to what is taking place on Capitol Hill, in Washington, D.C., and all the government offices around the world, your duty is to you and your family. What are you doing to secure your family? Okay, family, I know that many grow weary of these conversations because they don't know what direction to go. They don't know which direction to turn. And I must say this because I can tell that there is a panic going on in a lot of people. And I can certainly respect that feeling, that emotion. But we get, from time to time, as we did a few days ago, we get perfect strangers who we don't know, they don't know us, but only through our ministry, through our videos. But perfect strangers are emailing, asking if they can come and live with us. Now, like I said, I can certainly understand that panic that a lot of people are going through right now. I certainly understand it, and I can appreciate a person reaching out in that way. But of course, in this day and time, you just cannot do that, even with people that you know. We can testify that you just cannot bring everyone into your house, into your life for that matter. You just can't do it. And so I do pray that Abiyah would lead and direct those who are feeling this way to trust him and to fight their way through this thing that they're going through. We've been at this for years, trying to be an encouragement in many different ways, even attempting at unification. But some things are just very obvious that you simply cannot do. As it was in the days of Noah, family. When the storm was about to come, when the rain was about to start falling, the people, right up until the day that it started to fall, didn't take it serious. They underestimated the storm. They didn't prepare, and they perished. It's sad that most of our plights will be determined by what we do today. I like to look at things like this, even if things don't look promising. Look at today and say, well, right now I'm alive, I'm breathing. I have right now to think, to pray, to do. You can't just be a thinker or a talker, but you have to be a doer. I spoke about a brother who had a desire for something because he had the desire and he was putting himself out there that the door opened for him and someone blessed him with the thing that he desired. I see a lot of testimonies like that where when you put yourself out there and you make the necessary moves that you are supposed to make and you don't give up, the Most High will send someone to open the door for you. We've gotten testimonies from those who have acquired land through family or through gifting. Those who have acquired homes the same way. I love these testimonies. One brother got a trailer for his farm. When I hear things like this, I say, Abba Yah, he definitely takes care of his children when they trust him, they believe him, and when they put forth the effort, because faith without works is dead. I don't like to cause you to fear, family, but sometimes the reality checks are necessary, because just because we decide to ignore something, just because you choose to ignore the handwriting on the wall, doesn't mean that things are going to go back to normal. Because we don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know what tomorrow holds. Next week, we don't know what that's going to be like. We don't know what next month is going to be like. We like to think that all is well and that we don't have anything to worry about. But we must be realistic, family. It's unfortunate that most of us, we don't have people that we can trust or depend on. A lot of times people, they want to come around you to use you. And when they can't get what they want from you, they turn on you. And so many of us are faced with that. I get those testimonies too. People turn on you when they can't use you. And so I know we don't want to think about those things. We don't want to believe that some people's whole focus and goal is to find who they can use rather than who they can help. They try to offer it as help, but really they need that foot in the door by deceiving you, saying, I'm here to help. But that's not their goal. That's not their goal at all. So we must be mindful of these things and be very careful, because, again, number 45 is playing a dangerous game of world leader. And anyone who is witnessing this debacle, you can understand that that's no world leader. And that the path that he has put this country on seems to be at warp speed from what it was before. There was never any righteousness established here. But as you see, many are being deceived by this person, including so-called black people. But your duty is to take care of your family. Whatever that means, that's what you must focus on today and tomorrow and next week, as long as time permits, because there will come a day and a time where you will be out of time. Whenever I think back to the people who died in Hurricane Katrina because they underestimated the storm, it saddens my heart, especially for those who were offered ways out, but they decided to ride it out to their own demise. Now, we know every story is different. Some people didn't have a way out, but there were those who did have a way out. And as you see, the help for our people was very minuscule. And for some, a day late and a dollar short, because our lives don't matter to some. And instead of us whining about that and trying to scream and holler that our lives matter, instead of doing that, try a different approach. You make your life matter. You take care of you and your family. And stop trying to beg and plead with those who have shown you that your life doesn't matter for a very long time. Stop trying to prove to them that it does. That's a waste of time. Now that I would call a distraction, along with all this social media garbage that our people get all caught up in, the social media gossip, the fighting, the bickering, the attacking, all of the ignorant stuff that our people allow themselves to get caught up in. Those are the real distractions. And trying to beg and plead with people who were prophesied to treat you this way. The best thing we can do for ourselves and for our people is to figure this thing out. And if you try to latch on to someone who you believe have the answer, do right by them. Because get this, people are getting tired of being used, mistreated, and abused. People pretending to want to help. Oh, I'm there to help. Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to unify. That is not your goal. If that's not your goal, just keep it moving. Because right now, we all have to concern ourselves with our families and what's best for our families. And sometimes that means cutting people off. And in some cases, family members being cut off too. Sometimes you have to do that. And then we have to forge ahead. It all sounds good on paper to say let's unify, but in reality, that's a hard order. That's a tough order for so-called black people. Okay. I got to get out of here now because it's that time. Thank you for listening, family. And with that, I will say shalom.